week. We're going to talk about the hacker group's been hijacking DNS traffic on D-Link routers for months now. What does that mean to you? What can you do about it? How can you detect it? Facebook, the privacy kings, right? What's happening with Facebook and their really creepy portal? Yeah, it's kind of interesting, that little camera they have. Tax info, of course, April 15th, time to file the personal taxes. What is happening? What's the cost? What's the value of your tax information online, and why would they steal it? The founder, the person who started this whole Walking Dead series, has a brand new series that's coming out, and she's got some creepy things to say about technology. And we've got the New York City wireless network down. I warned you. Don't say I didn't warn you guys about that and what's happening. So let's get right into it here. DNS has, of course, been one of the most important parts of our internet for a very, very long time. Time was we had to maintain hosts tables, we had to know where everybody was, we had to do hop routing. We'd send it to somebody that knew more, they had a bigger map of the internet, so we had upstream providers, and we would send it to them. We were all connected together, and it was really quite a hodgepodge. So DNS came out, and the idea behind DNS, this dynamic name system, was to allow us now to have one massive name database. Now, it was designed in the times when the internet was a much more friendly place. We didn't have bad guys out there running around. We didn't have opposition parties who were trying to shut us down, and denial of service attacks and hijacking domains. Well, actually, we kind of did have hijacking domains. I had a couple stolen from me back in the day. But it was a much more genteel place. And DNS was designed for a cooperative system. So if you want to go to google.com or craigpeterson.com or anywhere online, you could use a name. It would go to this DNS system, who would then look up that name. It would come back with an internet address, and then that address would be used to route your data. Does that make sense to you? I hopefully I explained that right and simply enough. The idea is that we can, using DNS, just use names, because us humans aren't great at remembering all of these multi-digit numbers. And it's gotten even worse now with IPv6, but we're not going to get into that right now. So what's been happening with our wonderful little hacker group here? Well, these modems here from D-Link, ARG, DS-Link, Secutech, and TotalLink, and you can see them here on my screen. You'll find them on my website. Just go to craigpeterson.com/YouTube, and you can watch along here. But for the last few months, they've really been hacking a lot. I have the list of known routers that have this vulnerability that had been hacked, and this is based on one of these security companies that went and had a poke around. Troy Mersch is the guy's name. Bad Packets is the name of the company. And he's saying there were three major waves. There was a wave late December, early February, late March as well in 2019. But these attacks are still going on. These hacks are still out there. And what they're doing is they're taking the DNS information that you would normally have in your router, and they are changing it to some of these malicious DNS servers. Now, I've got it up on my screen. I just pulled it up from this article, which you will also find on ZDNet, which is one we're talking about, or right there on craigpeterson.com. That's probably the easiest way to find it. And I sent it out today in my show notes as well, my show notes email. But these are the addresses. So if you want to check right now to see if your router has been compromised, have a look for these addresses in your DNS settings. And the idea here is they change the settings on your router. It now provides those DNS addresses to your other equipment in your home or your office. So now when your other equipment tries to go somewhere online, they have the ability to intercept it, because they just say, hey, yeah, Google isn't at 123 Main Street in Merrimack. No. It's at 1745 Lenin Street in Moscow. And so now your traffic ends up going to Moscow. Well, in this case, right, this kind of looks like it's some Brazilian people that are really trying to do this the most. but they've hijacked traffic that's been meant for Netflix, Google, PayPal, and some Brazilian banks. So the idea here is you try and go to one of these sites, and what do they require you to do? They require you to log in, or maybe there's a cookie set in your browser that they can read and use to log in. So they try and get you to log in, get the information from you, and then now they've got your information. We already discussed why they want it, and we'll get into it in just a couple more minutes too when we're talking about what's happening right now with your tax information. But they are using what are called bulletproof hosting providers. In case you're not familiar with what that is, these bulletproof hosting providers, and I'm going to stick their ASs here up on the screen. If you're a total geek, you will find it right there. There we go. There's their ASs, which are autonomous systems, part of the internet backbone. But bulletproof hosting providers will not provide information about their clients to law enforcement. And they try and prevent anybody from figuring out who their customers are. So these two hosting providers are the guys that are doing it. This has all happened before. There's a massive malvertising operation. Sometimes they'll use these DNS attacks in order to inject into the stream ads. We've had ISPs, legit ones here in the US, who have been doing similar things. If you try and go to a site that doesn't have a DNS entry, guess what they're going to do? Yeah, they're going to send you to their site, to their advertising. So that's what's been going on. If you are using any one of these routers, put them up on the screen again, which is basically the D-Links, ARG, DS-Link, SecuTech, and TotalLink, as well as many others. Make sure you update them, upgrade them, or replace them. And I went over this in quite a bit of detail in my most recent master course about what is happening out there and what you need to be aware of, all right? So let's move on to our next article. This is something I warned everybody about last year, and then again I warned everybody about just about a month ago. And as it turns out, our friends at New York City, they kind of knew about it too, but they didn't really do anything about it. And that is this New York City wireless network, and it is down due to a bug. At least it has been down. They've been working on trying to get this thing back up online, which makes sense, right? And this has to do with a failure to update. How many times have we talked about that being a real problem out there? And the failure to update in this case is all of our wonderful data that they're using to allow the police, fire departments, and others to communicate. Now, the fire department is saying they got off of what's called NYC WIN, which is their wide area internet. They got off of it a couple of years ago. They switched over to Verizon Mobile Data, and they're using that in order to communicate with the hospitals when they're transporting patients and things. But the transit officials can't remotely control 12,000 plus traffic lights, traffic cameras, NYPD, license plate readers are down. This is according to the New York Post. It crashed on Saturday, April 6th. Do you remember that date? Yeah, I warned everybody, right? Remember that one guy, I quoted him saying, "I am not going to be anywhere near an airplane on April 6th." Well, the Department of IT there in New York City is paying Northrop Grumman about $40 million a year to run this network that cost them $500 million to put in place, and has been in service for 10 years. And they never updated some of the core components. Why would you use GPS? Here's what's happening. The GPS older GPS equipment had what's called a rollover event. They were using, there's a little geeky, but 32-bit counters. You remember the old 32-bit computers, and you got to upgrade. Do you want 64-bit Windows or 32-bit Windows? Remember all that thing? Well, these older GPS units had 32-bit counters in them. And what that meant is, come April 6th, they went from, it's 5 p.m. on April 5th to it's 0 p.m. It rolls back to 0, which goes back to the epoch, which I'm not sure what it was in GPS. In the Unix world, it was 1970. But everything got messed up. So now all of a sudden, their traffic cameras, security cameras are all saying that they are down for maintenance because they are down and they're down hard. The same thing with license plate readers, not all of them, but the ones that were older, all are failing on them now. But they use GPS for the clocks. Now think about gridlock. Gridlock is a term that was invented in the city of New York. And what it meant was they had this grid laid out, right? It's all beautiful grid, straight lines. And gridlock meant that traffic couldn't move because the lights weren't properly synchronized. And it was there for decades. And they came up with that term. So they decided they had to synchronize all of the lights so that traffic would flow properly. Well, traffic isn't flowing properly because now the clocks that are in the lights, the traffic lights, that we're using a clock coming from the satellites via the GPS signal. That GPS receiver's not working. The clocks are now falling out of sync. Some of them, I suspect, pretty quickly falling out of sync. So now New York's in for more gridlock. Hopefully they'll get this fixed pretty quickly. But it's a very, very big deal. Police have been sent to spots with vehicle-mounted readers where the readers are failing. And I kind of find that interesting too, because you're talking about license plate readers. Really? That's a critical piece of infrastructure? I guess it is if you're trying to find people who owe money on parking tickets, but otherwise. And Fire Department in New York with the patient care reports to hospitals, they've got that all fixed. They're saying they're all set. And according to the New York Post, Northrop Grumman declined to comment. Is that a shocker? Is that a shocker to you as well? Yeah, of course, they're not going to comment on that sort of thing. All right, so next up here, let's go to our fake Amazon review stories. This is just crazy here. Have you gone to Amazon? Have you used some of their review stuff? I know I have, and it's very handy, and I use it quite a bit, right? And that's kind of the stars that are on top of the page. Let me put this up on the screen for you. And 5-star reviews. Can you trust them? Well, this particular reporter from The Hustle went underground and spent 2 weeks there and found out what was really happening. So actually, I'm not even sure what the name of the author of this article is. They don't mention their name and they don't have credit. Okay, maybe it's Zachary Crockett. That might be it. So here's what he said. He said he went to this private Facebook group, this underground Facebook group, was chatting with this person named Lian Zi, an Amazon seller from Guangzhou, China, and she offered him a deal. If he gave her a 5-star review for her iPhone charger, now he would need to buy the charger from Amazon so it could be a verified purchase. And then what she would do is she would refund him via PayPal and pay him a $10 commission. So he was asking, hey, isn't this illegal? And her response was, well, she didn't say no. She said, well, you will love is all she said, right? So he looked up her product review, and you can see this on my screen here, craigpeterson.com/YouTube, craigpeterson.com/YouTube. But he found her iPhone charger on Amazon, and it had almost 4,000 5-star reviews. Isn't that just amazing? Also got Amazon's Choice label, which is very, very valuable. I know I use that. So when I'm looking on something on Amazon, I'm looking at the stars, and I'm looking at the Amazon's Choice, that little black box that comes up. And then occasionally, depending on the price of the item, I'll scroll down to read the reviews. Well, apparently I'm not alone, and if you do the same thing, you're not alone either, because what it's saying here is 65% of us trust online reviews. 82% of American adults check the product reviews before making a purchase. I think that's low, frankly. I think it's almost 100%. If you're on Amazon, right? It's probably 100%. But just generally shopping online is probably more like 82. I can see that. So research is showing that we're more swayed by a simple star rating than what the reviewers actually write. And I've got to also go, let me see, pop ahead a little bit here. Some of these reviews, and you might have seen stuff like this. I know I have, and it really upset me. You see reviews, and he's saying this one product he was looking at. This is another guy. This is a guy named Tommy Noonan. Had 580 reviews, and every single one of them was 5 stars. But he recalls people would write things like, I haven't tried this product, but, and then leave a glowing review. Well, does that smell like it's a setup or what? It definitely does. Let me show you this here. Okay, on the screen again, craigpeterson.com/YouTube. Fake reviews are boosting a lot of products. And I've seen stats saying it's 20% all the way up to 60% of these are fake. But look at this, headphones. It's saying the fake reviews average star rating is 4.89 out of 5. And the real reviews are 3.99. So that's a difference for headphones of almost a whole star. Isn't that amazing? So it's showing up as 5 stars almost when it should be 4 stars. And what happened is there's a guy out there who's doing some research. FakeSpot is where you'll find the fakespot.com. And they came up with some of these stats, and they are absolutely shocking when you get right down to it here. I'm going to bring this up so it's my absolute full desktop view here so you can see this whole thing in more detail. But there it is, right? Headphones, cell phone accessories, pest control, car control, sexual wellness, pet supplies, all of these things. Vitamins and supplements, by the way, kind of the bottom of the list. They only have a differential between fake and real stars of a quarter star here, bottom line. And then there's another one I want to show you here too. This is the surge in unreliable Amazon reviews. This is a chart again that I've got up on, you'll see it on YouTube. But Amazon's hosting 1.8 million vendors and sellers who are selling nearly 600 million items that are generating about 9.6 million new product reviews every month. So really the big deal here, the big question is, how can you tell when they are fake? How can Amazon tell? If you're talking about 10 million reviews a month, how can they tell? Well, there's some ways to do it. They're kind of trying to do it. But I've got to say, I think they have a negative motivation in trying to do it. I'm not sure it's cracked up to be, because by having these people shipping products directly from China to Amazon's warehouses in bulk. So they ship 10,000, 100,000 of these things to Amazon warehouses. Amazon then pre-positions them in warehouses close to where they think there will be people that will be buying them. And then those people who are looking to buy them can get them very quickly, right? That's the whole idea behind it. Well, you're cutting out the middleman. Instead of having somebody buy it from China, ship it to the US, and then ship them in smaller quantities to Amazon, the Chinese manufacturers effectively are shipping it right to Amazon, who ships it right to you. So that's saving you a lot of money, which I would personally call a disincentive, right? I don't think Amazon's purposely trying to be, hiding things from us, but be very careful out there, because there's been a huge rush in the marketplace. There are dozens of products that are almost indistinguishable from each other. And frankly, that's exactly what they're taking advantage of right now with these fake reviews. How do they get their product well known? Well, they just make themselves a fake little review, right? That makes it easy enough. So let me pull up our next little article. And this is fascinating. And I am totally looking forward to seeing this when it comes out. And this is from Yahoo. And right now they just had a film festival over in Cannes, over in southern France. And Channing Powell, you might have heard that name before. She's the lady who started Walking Dead. And she's been thinking about what's happening with technology now and what's happening with technology in the future. And this is an article from Yahoo News that they picked up from AFP Wire. But she says she is terrified of what big tech might be up to. She has a new show called The Feed, and it's premiering in Cannes, and that's just this week, by the way. And my birthday, by the way, this week as well. It's premiering in Cannes this week, and it's all about a dystopian future. Now, who hasn't heard about dystopian futures, right? It's all normal. Well, what she's saying is Elon Musk and Facebook are both trying to develop technology that can allow you to remotely control things. But The Feed, this new Amazon series, goes a step further. Not only can you control things with your mind, but you can send your feelings, what you're seeing, what you're smelling, everything. You can send it to someone else in social media. So someone else can live your life. Well, what happens if someone's in the middle of that? A company, like a Facebook or whomever, and let's say they're malicious and they modify that, or they play with your mind and your emotions, because now they can send emotions to you, and the smells and the eyesight, everything, make it seem real. Well, that's what this is all about. And she says that Elon Musk right now is developing a neural lace computer that covers the entire brain that you would control with thought. Okay. She also goes in and talks about what's been happening at MIT. They have something that just clips on your ear and will do some remote control stuff for you. She's saying she's 39 years old, by the way, so she's not quite a millennial, but she's very concerned. You know, we got our iPhones with us all of the time. Many people just can't leave them behind. They're checking Instagram constantly. So what's going to end up happening here? There's some companies already in Belgium and Sweden that are implanting chips into people. Here's a direct quote from her too that I totally agree with. When somebody like Elon Musk, who's a radical libertarian, who's inside all of this development and understanding of it, when someone like Elon Musk is telling government that you need to regulate us and stop us from doing what we are doing, that is absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And frankly, we're at a tipping point now. The Chinese government has already started a social credit score where they will now reward you or punish you based on social credit. That starts January 1st, 2020. That's the tipping point. I talked last week on my show about what's happened in Venezuela. They have purchased the Chinese social credit system, where now you have a national ID card that's used for everything from banking through voting. They know how you voted. They know where your money's coming from. And if you're getting any money from the government, they can, will, and do control it. So maybe we're already past the tipping point. She doesn't say that. She says, you know, we're really close, but maybe we are already past it. And frankly, that's scary. It really scares me, bottom line. All right, so we've got a couple more articles and we've only got a couple more minutes. So let's get to those pretty quickly here. Let's get that up on my screen. And I'm going to, let's see. So let's talk about this really quick. And this has to do with your taxes. You have, of course, been paying taxes for years, right? It's one of the two things that is certain in life, death and taxes. So this is an article from Fox Business, and I got it up on my screen, craigpeterson.com/YouTube. But we have our taxes out there. IRS is said to have the largest database in the world, and that doesn't surprise me. But here's how much it's worth. We filed W-2s, 1040s. There's the business stuff that's out there. They are all available for purchase online. And you've heard these tips before. use multi-factor authentication with your bank, right? Use a password manager. Don't save passwords in your browser. File your taxes as soon as possible so that if the bad guys file a false tax report in your name, it's going to pop up a flag. It's not going to go through. Don't give away personal information unless you have to. Never transfer money based on an email, right? All of the basic stuff. Well, here's how much your information is worth. I'm going to pull this up on the screen. Here we go right now. So basically, for $1,000, a hacker can purchase access to a US-based bank account, file a fake return, claim the IRS refund, and cash out through cryptocurrency exchange, and they will make more than 100% return on their $1,000 investment. That's the bottom line here. So they really are trying to do it. IRS is saying that there's 1.4 billion breach attempts every year. Many of them are coming from nation states, which frankly doesn't surprise me in the least, right? Why not? It's a good way to fund your operations when you get right down to it. And then we got one more article really quickly here. I couldn't believe it when our friends over at Facebook decided that they would go ahead. I just couldn't believe this. That they would go ahead and release a nice little creepy device. This is their portal. Have you heard about their portal before? This is a device they were selling for $200, and it had in it some pretty darn neat technology. And this technology is designed to be able to recognize faces in a room, follow faces, and you could call out your family and friends, really cool stuff. An article by our friends over at Boing Boing. Well, bottom line is, who wants to buy a telescreen from Facebook? Nobody trusts them. They were selling it 6 months ago for $200. Apparently it hasn't been selling very well. And as part of Facebook's apology tour they've been doing for the last year, they've dropped the price. So if you want Facebook to spy on you in your home and track you in your face as you walk around the room, which is nice if you're cooking dinner and you're talking with someone, and is creepy if you're not, then go ahead. For $99 you can get it right now as well. So that's it for today. Have a great week. We are putting these up online as well. You can see them at craigpeterson.com/YouTube for all of the YouTube people who want to follow it. And we're putting our security tips up there and other things as well. So it should be a good time for all. Keep an eye out, and please do subscribe. Follow me over there, craigpeterson.com/YouTube. And I will be back next week right here, and I'll be here with Jack Heath on Monday morning and Jim Polito on Tuesday morning, and even more throughout the week. So keep an eye on my podcasts. And that's at craigpeterson.com/iTunes. Take care, everybody. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.